Hi, I'm Michael New, and this is Thailand at Large. In this episode, I'm in the south of Thailand in the province of Chumphon. I've been to this province a few times before, but usually it's just on my way to one of the islands, whether it's Gat Tao or Gat Samui or Gat Phangan. Actually, Chumphon itself is a beautiful province and it has tons of stuff that you can do that's not on any tourist guide. And today is one of those things. I've been invited in this episode to join the Cram community and stay at the Cram Homestay. And I'm gonna get to experience what living in a fishing village is like.
Cram village is located on a bay just off a pinnacle in the Chumphon archipelago. Chumphon is a province in the south of Thailand. I'm staying at the Cram Homestay, a wooden building raised up on stilts over the water. In fact, all of the houses in the village are built on stilts. This gives everyone easy access to their boats, even at low tide. In fact, at the time the village was constructed, which was around the time of the Second World War, the only way to reach it was by boat. Fishermen work very interesting hours. Different fish are active at different times, so fishermen have to base their schedules around that. On top of that, it can get really hot in the middle of the day, so the best time to collect from their traps is early in the morning when it's still cool but bright enough to work.
It's currently 6 a.m., but everybody in this village has already been up for 2 hours. So we're a little bit late. We're gonna head out right now and we're gonna go catch some shrimp and crab. When he ได้กี่ตัวครับ2 kilo, so he says he's gotten 2 kilograms of crab already. So if you look around us right now, there's all these areas of poles coming out of the water with flags, and apparently these are to mark where they've laid their nets, so they can go to the flag and they can start pulling up the net from there. So this one here will go all the way out there to that red flag. So they're explaining to me that the difference between catching shrimp and catching crab is that crabs are something that walk along the bottom of the ocean. So they lay their nets at the bottom so that the crabs can walk into it. But shrimp can swim. So they kind of just lay their net and then let it drift around and the shrimp will swim into it. แล้วทำไมกุ้งมันจะไปติดแต่ปลาต่างๆเนี่ยไม่ค่อยติด This guy's also catching shrimp, but his net isn't floating all over the place. His one's on the ground because in this spot, the water's quite shallow. I wonder if you can see the bottom. You can't quite see the bottom, but the water's very clear today. So that's quite interesting. He says he doesn't leave his net out all night. What he does is he'll lay his net for only about an hour because the shrimp that are caught in the net are actually something that a lot of other fish species love to come and eat. So if you leave them in the net too long, they'll all be gone. So it's not worth it. So you have to collect them pretty quick. Oh, look at that.
Before the villagers catch up on some well-earned rest during the hottest part of the day, some species of fish, and the smaller squid that can't be sold, are salted and placed out in the sun to dry. These have to be sun-dried over 3 days before they're good to store. Properly dried and salted fish can last up to 12 months without going bad, which makes it a very effective way of preserving their catch. While the village was resting, I took the opportunity to charter a small boat to go explore the peninsula and the bay. This is a really convenient way of getting around, and you can usually barter for a very fair price. The south of Thailand is dotted all over by amazing geology. These huge cliffs are limestone karsts. They're actually made of ancient coral that's built up over millions of years. Over that time, the soluble bedrock between these towers gets washed away by mildly acidic rainwater. Many rock formations around the world are sculpted by wind and water erosion, but these are formed from a chemical process, which makes them a lot rarer. In fact, these are the only tropical karsts in the world.
But of course, a trip to a fishing village wouldn't be a trip to a fishing village if you didn't at least go for a swim. Because the water here is just, it's turquoise. It looks amazing. I can't wait. All right, here we go.
The waters in the south of Thailand are excellent for swimming. It's so warm you can easily stay in for hours at a time. When the water's clear like it is today, snorkeling and scuba diving can be truly breathtaking experiences. One little tip is that if you find yourself getting itchy after a swim in the ocean, you can put some vinegar on it, as the acid helps to counteract the base agitants like jellyfish that you can find in salt water. When the sun goes down, the fishing village springs to life. Squid, which are one of the main sources of income, come out to hunt at night, and the members of this community have a very unique way of catching them. These contraptions are called bombs. The four posts go into the water, and there is a net strung between them that sinks to the bottom of the bay. Above the net, the fishermen hang lights. The lights attract small fish, like moths to a flame, and squid happen to find these particular fish irresistible. That means that underneath each of these bombs is a high concentration of fish and squid, as well as the occasional crab.
So the sun's gone down, but the fun's just getting started. In this village, at around 9 p.m., the fishing boats go out to collect squid. Now, I don't know if you can see it, but all those lights on the horizon, those are actually fishing boats, and they use the lights to lure in small fish. And squid come up from the depths, and they come to eat these small fish, and that's when they catch them. So we're about to head out, and we're gonna try and get ourselves some of these squid. And I'm gonna get to try raw squid for the very first time. I'm quite excited. Hopefully it's delicious. Okay, let's go. Okay, so it turns out we've actually come to a squid trap. And it works the same way I explained before. See, they've got these lights, and the lights bring in all these little fish, and then the squid come up and they eat the fish. You can actually see a lot of the squid right on the surface, right over there, right underneath the light. See them jumping? And so there's a net underneath, and we're gonna bring it up and catch the squid. So you can see there's a net underneath this whole trap, and he's moving the lights out of the way so we can pull this net up and then bring in all the squid. It looks like there's a ton of them in there. So this type of trap is called a bam. It's a traditional trap that they've used here. ใช้บามนี่มานานแค่ไหนแล้วครับ
ประมาณสัก45 ปีครับ
45 ปี They've been using this for 45 years. And as you can see, it works really well. In fact, he says if you wait for just a little bit longer, you'll catch even more.
The fishermen visit each of these bombs twice during the night, once at 11 p.m. and again at 4 a.m. This gives the traps enough time to attract more fish and squid. Generally, a single trap can catch 4 to 6 kilograms at a time. Amongst the 15 or so of these dotted throughout the bay, this is enough to feed the village as well as to sell off the extra for income.
Here we go, raw squid.
ลื่นอยู่เลยเต็มเลยเนี่ย
The locals recommend enjoying fresh squid raw, dipped in a homemade chili sauce. This sauce is made from a mixture of green chilies, garlic, green beans, and sugar.
Okay, here we go. Squid sushi. Just 2 minutes after they've caught it. So here we go. And then dip a little bit in here. It's really good.
It's a humbling experience to catch and prepare your own seafood. It gives you a real appreciation for the food you eat, and, for me anyways, makes it important to be less wasteful.
It's maybe even better when you do it yourself.
As my time in Cram village comes to an end, I'm left to reflect on the relationship between sustainable fishing and homestay tourism. The villagers here catch just enough to feed themselves and their visitors, with only a little left over to sell to buy their essentials.
So ส่วนใหญ่ถ้าจะไปขายเนี่ยมันมีบ้างหรือเปล่าครับ
ก็ถ้าขายก็เป็นหมึกนะที่ได้มานะเป็นปลาหมึกแต่ว่าถ้าปลาหมึกเล็กอย่างนี้โดยมากเราจะตากไว้ตากไว้แต่ว่าถ้าตัวโตกว่านี้นี่เราจะต้องเป็นสินค้านอกเหนือจากการเลี้ยง
ก็ไปขายตัวเล็กๆก็เอามากินเอง
จ้านอกเหนือที่เราเลี้ยงแขกแล้วน่ะเก็บไว้พอแล้วก็เป็นสินค้าได้กลับมามั่ง
ที่อ่าวครามอ่ะปลาตัวใหญ่ที่สุดที่เคยได้
ก็มีหน้าตัวนึงเป็น5-6 โลปลาเขาเรียกปลาสากตัวยาวๆที่ถ่ายรูป
ที่มันมีจมูกแหลม
ๆนั่นแหละแหลมๆนั่นแหละ
อันนั้นคือใหญ่สุดใช่ไหม
ใหญ่แล้ว5-6 โลมันจะเข้ามาไล่กินหมึกเล็กๆนี่แหละ
แล้วส่วนหมึกใหญ่ที่สุดที่จับได้เคยมีหมึกยักษ์ไหมครับ
ก็มีนะ2 ตัวกิโลนึงเขาเรียกหมึกโซก็ชาวประมงที่นี่ก็โดยมากเขาจะมีอาชีพทำออกอวนกุ้งและออกไอ้ปลาหมึกนี่นะก็คือว่าเป็นอาชีพตั้งแต่ปู่ย่าตายายเลยปลาหมึกเนี่ยเป็นอาชีพเลี้ยงครอบครัวเลยแต่ตอนนี้นี่มันไม่ค่อยพอที่จะเลี้ยงครอบครัวแล้วเพราะของมันน้อยลง
ถึงหันมาทำโฮมสเตย์
ก็เลยหันมาทำโฮมสเตย์เมื่อก่อนป้าก็จะได้หมึกเนี่ยเป็นหลายเข่งแล้ว
อย่างโฮมสเตย์เนี่ยปกติมีคนตลอดไหมครับหรือว่าเป็นช่วง
ปีนี้แหละปีนี้เกือบทั้งปีแล้วนะตั้งแต่มกรามาเลย
ครับ
ที่เขาเข้ามาเขาก็รู้สึกว่าเขาก็ส่วนน้อยนะที่เขาไม่พอใจไม่ปลื้มอะไรอย่างเนี้ย แต่ส่วนมากก็บอกว่าจะมาใหม่และมาใหม่อยู่เรื่อยนะ
In recent years, when aquatic resources began to deplete, they turned to tourism, which has brought a new source of income to the people here. This is a beautiful little corner of the world and a wonderfully different way of life than I'm used to living in the city. I really enjoyed it here and invite you to come experience it for yourself if you feel like stepping off the beaten path.
Chumphon is a beautiful province, and I feel very fortunate to have seen a side of it that not many tourists get to see. Being able to stay here in this fishing village and to learn about their way of life, you really get to understand how sustainable fishing and homestay tourism can really go hand in hand. And it's been so interesting to see the different techniques that they used and the different types of fish that they've caught. And I've got to say, the best squid I have ever had is from right here. And so before I go, I'd like to say a quick thank you to all the villagers of Cram for being so hospitable and for taking me and all the team out and showing us all kinds of cool stuff. I hope you learned something new today. I'm Michael New, and that's it for this episode of Thailand at Large. Thank you.